overall management of law and order and serves the public interest. For the last 2 days, Your Excellency, the International Association of Prosecutors, 4th Regional Conference for Africa and Indian Ocean, and the East African Association of Prosecutors Conference has engaged in deep deliberation and shared experiences aimed at improving prosecution and investigations of international organized crimes under the theme Effective Mechanism for Responding to Emerging and Transnational Crimes, Country Challenges and Experiences. Your Excellency, 30 countries from across the continent are represented in this curriculum, bringing together a broad scope of knowledge and an unprecedented depth of experience in one room. Allow me, Your Excellency, to acknowledge them. We have amongst us, of course, the DPP of Mauritius, Honorable Satyajit Bolel. We also have Mr. Mwakitalo Sylvester Anthony, the DPP Tanzania. We have Justice Abodo Jane Francis, DPP Uganda. We have Mr. Amabel Giaremi, Prosecutor General Javier, and Treasurer of the EAP. We have Mr. Chol Deng Adija, DPP South Sudan. We have Mr. Nkeza Bahizi Francois, Deputy Prosecutor General Burundi. We have Mr. Wesson Gep Mwanchwe, Deputy Director of Public Prosecutions Botswana. We have Victor Mukomo Mumba, Prosecutor General DRC. We have Honorable George Saab Salib, Deputy Prosecutor General Egypt. We have Mr. Yusuf Jamwe Said, Director International Corporations from Office of the Attorney General of Ethiopia. We have Dame Godfrey Yabor, Attorney General of Ghana, accompanied by Madam Atakura Obubisa, DPP Ghana. We have Mr. Martins Domingos, President of the Union of Magistrates of the Public Ministry of Guinea-Bissau, Guinea-Bissau. We have Dr. Stephen Kayuni, DPP Malawi. We have Dr. Olinda Noe Kosa, the Deputy Attorney General, Mozambique. We have Mr. Ian Mwinga Malumani, Chief Legal Officer, Namibia. We have Mr. Abubakar Mohamed Babadokor, Federal DPP, Nigeria. We have Mr. Frank Ali, Attorney General, Seychelles. We have Mr. Mohammed M. Mohammed, Senior Legal Advisor, Attorney General, Somalia. We have Khalif Ahmed, the Attorney General of Sudan. We have Madam Thelma Mumba, the Chief State Advocate of Zambia. We have Madam Salma Ali Hassan, DPP Zanzibar. We have Madam Rose Takuva, Chief Public Prosecutors, Zimbabwe. Of course, we have Mr. Han Morada, the IIP Secretary General, who was with us. We have Madam Tomika Patterson, who is a resident legal advisor, USDOJ, Department of Justice. We have Madam Jennifer Riddle, from the British High Commission. We have Mr. Theuri, who is the LSK President of the Law Society of Kenya. We have Mr. Ogeto, who is the Solicitor General, Mr. Saitoti, the Director General, FRC, and Justice Kairu, Court of Appeal Judge. While we have heard from each other, time has come when we should listen to the consumers of our services, Your Excellency. More significantly, we could benefit from the wisdom of those at the apex of the government. It is for this reason that the presence of Your Excellency is truly pivotal. Your government's commitment has accorded the ODPP an opportunity to play its rightful role in the justice sector, nationally, regionally, continentally, and internationally, as an independent office. This has allowed us to form a strong foundation upon which the office has realized to a great extent the key tenets of our Constitution, which include independence, impartiality, integrity, accountability, objectivity, promotion of the rule of law, and the protection of human rights. The aforementioned principles are not only core values in our Constitution, but also in tandem with the SDG 16, which seeks to uphold peace, justice, and strong institutions. Indeed, Your Excellency, a strong criminal justice institution are the bedrock of the rule of law and due process, its critical anchor. Your Excellency, I'm pleased to inform you that the ODPP Kenya is an active member of the International Association of Prosecutors, the Africa Prosecutors Association, and the East African Association of Prosecutors, whose objectives are to promote the principles and standards mentioned above. Through your government's support, the ODPP budget allocation has progressively increased in turn, allowing us to enhance our capacity and promote access to justice through various administrative and operational initiatives, such as automation of our systems, processes, and procedures, increased recruitment of staff, increased conviction rates on transnational organized crimes such as corruption and terrorism cases, among others, improved terms and conditions of service for the ODPP staff, policy formulations such as the development of the decision to charge, plea bargaining and diversion guidelines, amongst others, and the operationalization of the Prosecution Training Institute, envisaged to be a center of excellence for prosecutorial skills and knowledge enhancement. Your Excellency, globalization and technological advancements have and continue to attract transnational organized and emerging crimes. Consequently, better investments and enhanced strategic interventions are key for successful investigation and prosecution. Indeed, your government's commitment to waging war against corruption by allocating resources and making strategic investments has resulted in a positive impact on the fight against emerging and transnational crimes. Allow me, Your Excellency, to briefly highlight how your support has been instrumental in making these positive impacts. Your government's investment in strengthening and bolstering the criminal justice actors to effectively carry out our mandate cannot be gainsaid. Your government has strengthened the National Police Service and funded their return to effective operational strength. It is common knowledge that an effective police service is a prerequisite for the criminal justice system to function. Your Excellency, in addition, you have not only secured funding that has allowed robust capacity building that is critical to the operations of the criminal justice actors, but also ensured political goodwill to the operations of the National Police Service, the EACC, the Immigration Service, NEMA, KEBS, Kenya Wildlife Service, Kenya National Commission on Human Rights, IPOA, which is the Independent Policing Oversight Authority, the FRC, and other constitutional and statutory offices. Due to this institutional operating with enhanced capabilities made possible by your government has in turn managed to mount the largest and most sustained fight against corruption in our nation's history. This will be an undeniable legacy of your administration. The deliberations that commenced yesterday have set the tone for increased regional engagements and cooperation aimed at tackling transnational organized and emerging crimes. Our sessions has thus far demonstrated the need for frequent and continuous interagency and multilateral engagements that can bridge the gaps identified. We have committed ourselves to deepening our collaborations and cooperation in tackling transnational crimes through joint seminars, sharing of best practices, training, and establishment of mutual legal assistance and extradition frameworks. Allow me, Your Excellency, to acknowledge and thank our partners, who include the Bureau of International Narcotics and Law Enforcement Affairs, United Nations Office of Project Services, United Nations Office, Drugs and Crime, UNODC, Attorney General's Alliance, AGA Africa, AMLTHB Projects in Africa, International Association of Prosecutors, East African Association of Prosecutors, for working with the ODPP in the realization of this conference. Special thanks to the High Court Judge, Honorable Stephen Kairu, and Solicitor General Kennedy Ogeto, who have been with us all through. And Your Excellency, we wish to also thank the government of Kenya for giving us this support and your personal presence here today. Once again, I thank you for gracing this conference and your continued efforts and support in advancing the rule of law. Indeed, Your Excellency, your support exceeds the boundaries of our nation. It is regional, continental, international too, as highlighted by your presence here today. Thank you and God bless. I now take the pleasure to invite the Cabinet Secretary, Dr. Fred Matiang'i, who will then welcome Your Excellency. Thank you.
Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Kenya, the Commander-in-Chief of the Kenya Defense Forces, the Honorable Mr. Nuruddin Haji, the Director, Office of the Directorate of Public Prosecutions, the Vice President of the International Association of Prosecutors, the President of the East African Association of Prosecutors, colleagues from the African Association of Prosecutors, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Your Excellency, this is your day, so I'll not last more than a minute next to this microphone, but allow me, because we have an historical moment in this country where this meeting is taking place, to say this. In the last about 4.5 years, while I've been Minister for Interior and Coordination of National Government, I've had occasion to attend about 3 or 4 of these meetings. The African meeting, the East African meeting, invited by the Honorable DPP. And this one is bigger, better, more organized, and more focused. What's happening here, if we have to be blunt and honest, is testament to the wonderful work that the Office of the Directorate of Public Prosecution, and particularly Mr. Haji and his team, have done. Truth be told, Your Excellency, when you took the oath of office in 2013, there wasn't so much to write home about in terms of institutionalization of the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions. What has happened over the years is a tribute to your solid leadership. And I have had the opportunity as a member of the National Security Council to sit on the front row seat to witness how you have personally insisted that we allocate resources and support the intense institutionalization of the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions. And we can see it, Your Excellency. If we had time, which we don't, I would have enumerated to these wonderful people how the Training Institute came into being, how you personally ensured that the DPP has got resources to build an institution, to train prosecutors, and so on and so forth. Finally, the strength of governance institutions anywhere in the world is testament to the political will of the leaders of that country. We are here because of your leadership, because of the political will provided by the Office of the President. Your Excellency, if you didn't pay personal attention and you didn't attend to this, it simply would not happen. Or if you didn't decide to attend to the rule of law, it will not happen. So, on my own behalf, first of all, and on behalf of my colleagues in the security sector, on behalf of my brother, the Honorable the Attorney General, retired Justice Gihara Kariuki, who could not be here for reasons beyond his control, but is very ably represented here by the Solicitor General, Mr. Ogeto. And on behalf of all of us, we want to thank you for what you have done for our country and what that is doing to the region and to the rest of the world. And as we move forward, we hope to sustain, all of us, the spirit of multi-agents that you started yourself by creating institutional synergies and mechanisms of putting institutions together to support the rule of law in our country. Nothing could be better than this in terms of fighting some of the challenges that we face in our country, some of which have threatened our development in the past. It's therefore a great moment to be here. And ladies and gentlemen, it's now my distinct pleasure and honor to request you to be upstanding as I invite His Excellency, our President, to speak to us and officially open the meeting. Your Excellency, the President.
Thank you, Fred. Please be seated. Thank you very much. Honorable Attorney Generals present and Directors of Public Prosecution, all partners, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Let me begin by saying how happy I am to join you today at this 4th edition of the Regional Conference of African and Indian Ocean Prosecutors, alongside your extraordinary general meeting of the East African Association of Prosecutors. Let me join my colleagues in welcoming you warmly to this beautiful city of Mombasa. And indeed, it is my hope that you will also take time to experience the ambience, comfort, tranquility, and the warmth of the people of this great city while you are here. So to get to the point, ladies and gentlemen, we convene here today to reaffirm our shared commitment to combat emerging transnational organized crimes such as terrorism, corruption, drug trafficking, money laundering, counterfeiting and smuggling, and offenses against wildlife, and also our cultural property. But allow me, before we delve into these three substantive reflections, the subject of this conference, let me contextualize the reality that we are all confronted with. Indeed, with the dawn of the new millennium, crime as we knew it has dramatically changed and expanded into new frontiers. Less than 2 decades ago, cybercrime was a niche concern. Cryptocurrency was still an abstract concept, and the manipulation of digital resources to facilitate or obscure real-world crimes was relatively rare. Today, 2022, criminals and their networks are utilizing advances in our technology and our increased interconnectivity to advance their agenda. At both local and international stages, our laws and justice processes are playing catch-up in the face of emerging crimes and also expansion of traditional crimes into new frontiers. And I believe that this is a realization that informs this conference that you hold here today. These shifts are a result of globalization and technology, and we have all felt the ripple effects of change, and that is why the theme, I believe, of this 4th edition is most apt and timely. I am informed that the objective of this week's conference was to review effective mechanisms for responding to emerging crimes and transnational organized crimes across the African continent. Premised on a framework of shared learning, the theme invites all of us to reflect on the need for innovation in our strategies, interventions, as well as our respective operations. But more importantly, the theme also demands of us to rededicate ourselves to our global commitments to combat transnational organized crime, and to do so collectively in a collaborative manner, but to also do so innovatively and in a manner that nonetheless always upholds our fundamental values. And so the key question we should ask ourselves is why nations should invest their efforts and resources in this endeavor. Available estimates by the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime indicate that annually illicit revenues and proceeds of crime equal more than $2 trillion globally. Africa itself loses roughly $88.8 billion in illegal financial flows each year, which is equivalent to 3.7% of our continent's GDP. In effect, our continent loses more wealth each year than it gains by at least $40 billion. This empirical evidence demonstrates clearly why the war against corruption and indeed transnational organized crime is a worthy investment for our governments. The resources Africa is losing would otherwise greatly benefit our development agenda and enable us to create an even more glorious future for our citizens. So what we have seen as our success and what anchors us in this war, I think firstly, it is the deliberate adoption of a multi-agency approach which we have done here in Kenya. Transnational crimes cannot be tackled without cross-institutional as well as cross-border cooperation. Transnational organized crime networks continue to exploit legitimate public institutions established to support financial and business services. Preventing and containing transnational organized crime therefore demands a concentrated cooperative effort by all actors in the prevention, investigation, prosecution, and asset recovery segments of the justice chain. And it is critical that we maintain open dialogue, both formal and informal, and continue working in close partnership. And the Kenyan government is and will remain a committed as well as an active participant in these engagements. As a region, we have also adopted bilateral and multilateral arrangements with the objective of mutually investigating and prosecuting emerging transnational crimes. To facilitate this, criminal justice systems across the region must adopt a proactive approach to identifying, tracing, freezing, as well as confiscating funds and proceeds of crime, and to remove the financial incentive and monetary benefits of crime. This will ensure our success. So through you, Bwana Chairman, I want to laud the efforts made by the East African Association of Prosecutors to expand the scope of membership and cooperation to the wider East African region in recognition of a need to strengthen regional cooperation in the investigation and prosecutions of transnational organized crime. These structures have similarly been replicated amongst investigative, intelligence, and asset recovery agencies whose deliberate cooperative framework begins in country before expanding in the region. The next point is that we recognize that due to the complex and constantly evolving nature of crime, continuous education and training are ancillary to boosting and bolstering our areas of expertise and knowledge in the identification and prevention of criminal activity. Our ability to deliver justice is not evolving, unfortunately, as quickly as the criminal's capacity to evade justice, and this we have seen. It is in line with this objective that Kenya has continuously enhanced our budgetary allocation to criminal justice agencies like the Office, the Public Prosecutor, and our investments in this sector have allowed for the establishment of training facilities such as the ODPP Prosecution and Training Institute, which provides continuous training for prosecutors and other criminal justice actors. The Institute also serves as an institution for legal development and resource building, and a key element for the reform and improvement of our prosecutorial practices within the East African region and also Africa at large. A further effective strategy has involved the use of institutional as well as legislative reform actions to transform the criminal justice sector. This includes strengthening of consultative platforms such as the National Council on the Administration of Justice, whose core purpose is to ensure a coordinated, efficient, and effective approach in the administration of justice. In addition, governance reforms targeted at key public sector institutions have also been identified as a critical multiplier. Countries with weak governance systems have experienced increased incidences of corrupt officials turning a blind eye to transnational organized crime activity. Kenya has thus identified corruption as a critical national security threat and required is continuous monitoring and reporting as part of the national security architecture. Additional considerations that are significant in our endeavors include cooperation in the area of border security and the deliberate effort to enhance public awareness on transnational crime as a national security threat in order for us to be able to enlist our citizens' participation. Ladies and gentlemen, these efforts would be greatly enhanced if implemented through joint regional platforms. Noting the evolving nature of transnational crime, a regional approach to planning, budgeting, and execution of jointly agreed measures would significantly improve the efficiency of our response actions. We need to continuously interrogate our laws to ensure that they are fit for purpose and capable of cross-country implementation. And I'm glad that this conference has provided an avenue to discuss these matters and to ensure that criminals do not use our borders as a shield against justice and accountability. Within our own East African community, harmonization of laws relating to illicit financial flows have thus far facilitated the surrender of seized gold here in Kenya back to Tanzania, to mention but just one example. Such measures will enhance the East African region's strategy for combating money laundering, countering terrorism financing, and countering the proliferation of cross-border crimes. Our cooperation and collaboration with each other should lead to increased mutual legal assistance and extradition requests, as well as enhanced formal and informal channels of communication for efficient and effective investigation and prosecution of transnational organized crimes. Additionally, sharing of information and intelligence among law enforcement agencies should also be strengthened through the establishment of a regional database. So, ladies and gentlemen, as I conclude, I want to once again thank the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions. I want to thank the Indian Ocean Prosecutors, the East African Association of Prosecutors, for graciously hosting this conference. May this assembly be one that leads all of us to build a long-term strategy for dismantling criminal enterprise and create a platform for a crime-free future. And I conclude by saying, ladies and gentlemen, that any system is as good as the people who run it. And as we look at ourselves, we must also look at ourselves from a point of integrity. Because yes, we are prosecutors, we are magistrates, we are presidents, but Do we do as we say, or do we say and do and close our eyes when it's... Anyway, I don't want to go there. Because you know what I'm trying to say. We can only be as good as we are. So mine is to pray that we become people of integrity. Because without integrity, you cannot uphold a criminal justice system. Without integrity in prosecutor's office, you cannot deal with the issue of corruption. Without integrity in our courts, without integrity in our government officials and civil servants and politicians, you will not succeed in this battle. Integrity is the key. And we need to be able to look at ourselves straight in the eye. You know, you are independent, but I'm sure you should be able to tell this man if you think he is corrupt. Mwambie. Yeah. You know me, if I say, he'll say I'm interfering in his office. But your colleague can tell you. You see? And then judges also look at each other in the eye. You know each other. You know what you do. Yeah? Don't hide behind your independence. You know, talk to each other. That's part of learning. If you know your colleague is also not following the right path, it's your responsibility to point them out. Anyway, I wish you all the very best. I know you will succeed in your endeavors, and may this assembly be one that leads us to build together a long-term strategy, as I said, on how we shall work together, how we shall succeed in this battle together. And ladies and gentlemen, this is not only important, but it is a must if our continent of Africa is to achieve sustainable and equitable social economic development, and indeed to truly join the League of Developed Nations with an honest, transparent, judicial and legal system. May God bless you all. Thank you very much.
I think, Your Excellency, with your permission, we'll have some photos outside. And I'll ask you to orderly go outside on the left and assemble the photos. Thank you, Excellency.
They came, saw and scored their way to the DFB Pokal final. Germany's valiant rivals, SC Freiburg and RB Leipzig, are a heartbeat away from lifting the ultimate trophy of which none has ever won. SC Freiburg are still hopeful of winning their first major title in club history. Meanwhile, RB Leipzig have reached 2 of the last 3 DFB Pokal finals, losing 3-0 to Bayern Munich in 2019 and 4-1 to Dortmund in 2021.